Right, welcome to the video, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be taking a look at The Last of Us Part 2, the backlash that has obviously ensued, but then also the epic and monumental levels of deflection that individuals like Neil Druckmann as well as Anita Sarkeesian are doing. Because we knew that this would happen. We knew that people, were going to be upset by this, the leaks that have occurred, and we will touch on those as well. We are going to talk about them. So be warned, if you don't know what the leaks are and you don't want to know, then just click off the video. But I would say it's probably in your best interest to actually spoil yourself. And I know it sounds weird, but I said this to someone yesterday on the phone, was that, these are characters that you love. Don't waste your money. You're probably going to want to be spoiled on this front because, and we'll get into this, the reason why people are so upset. It's a character-driven game. You can't do the characters dirty like this. So, yeah, and inevitably, we knew that this was going to happen. People are kind of leapfrogging around in terms of the blame game now. So a lot of people are just saying, oh, well, it's because people are homophobic. It's got nothing to do with homophobia. Don't you understand? People liked the first game regardless. They don't care. The sort of lesbian undertones and things like that. No one cares. It just is. It's a function of the world, a function of the characters. No one cared about that. And no one specifically cares that the alleged character Abby is, again, rumoured to be, as per the leaks, transgender. I don't think anyone inherently actually cares. Yeah, there'll be a fringe part of the outrage that will care about that, undoubtedly, of course. But that's all that these idiots are honing in on. Right, Anita Sarkeesian specifically is just honing in on the fact that, oh, it's just because she's supposedly trans. It's definitely to do with that. No, it has absolutely nothing. Like, really, that's probably, the least of the issues. You've got a character-driven game, which, well, you've just butchered the characters. So what's the point? And yes, there are things in universe that don't make sense. I mean, pray tell in post-apocalyptic world how someone can go through a transition and get hormones. Please explain that to me. If you're doing these changes, they have to make sense in universe. That doesn't sound like it makes any sense at all. Like, it just doesn't. And if you can come up with some mental gymnastics way of that making sense, yeah, sure, whatever. But to me, it doesn't make too much sense. And this is the thing, creators of any specific thing, like be it movies, comics, TV shows, games, they always seem to forget this, or a small part of them do anyway, is that your science fiction has to make sense, right? It has to be grounded in science with respect to also the fiction element to it. It's why Star Trek Picard, for instance, didn't make any sense when we just pulled out a magic wand device. How in any way is that grounded in science? It's not. Same as this, post-apocalyptic world, it still has to function as a universe, and the universe has to make sense. Don't really understand how you can go through a transition whilst you're in a post-apocalyptic world. Pretty dumb thing to add, if you ask me, just from that level. Now, they've all but admitted the leaks are true. Why? Well, they've moved forward the release of The Last of Us Part 2. So that's been moved forward. We also had this tweet from Naughty Dog that is going to be well blown up on the screen. But it says, we know the last few days have been... I'm just going to click off. This is terrible. Blown up. We know the last few days have been incredibly difficult for you. We feel the same. It's disappointing to see the release and sharing of pre-release footage from development. Do your best to avoid spoilers, and we ask that you don't spoil it for others. Well, sorry. I genuinely feel that this is something which should be shared around. And bearing in mind, remember, Naughty Dog has a vested interest in this, so of course they're going to be asking, please don't share spoilers. Of course they will. Of course. Undoubtedly. And a lot of people are saying, oh, well, this hurts the workers of Naughty Dog. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Because if you know anything about Naughty Dog, they go through workers year on, year out. People leave consistently, frequently, with regularity. They've been paid anyway. They don't care now. Their job's done. And 9 times out of 10, they only hire juniors, and then they piss off next year because they don't want to work for this, well, horrible environment. Now it says, The Last of Us Part 2 will be in your hands soon. No matter what you see and hear, the final experience will be worth it. Probably not. Heartbroken for the team. Heartbroken for our fans. We're still incredibly excited to get the game into your hands. Well, yeah, okay, maybe, fine. But at the end of the day, you know, the team, it was leaked by part of the team. So what are you talking about? Again, good word of advice, Neil Druckmann. Pay your employees on time. Do not work them to the bone. Just pay them, right? And this is long documented. You know, a lot of people are aware that crunch is part of the development and things like this. But we're talking about pay disputes. We're not even talking about crunch. We're talking about pay disputes. So again, pay your employees, right? And then we get on to this. Now, this is what I find utterly laughable. And it really, really is funny. Yep, this. Now, what is this? Let's have a look. Again, I don't know. I shouldn't have to say this, but don't go tracking any of these people down. Okay, just common sense. Again, common sense. I haven't looked at The Last of Us Part 2 leaks, but reactions to them reveal that there are still folks out there who think that stories about straight cis people are neutral, but who can only conceive of stories about anyone else as political, gender-driven, etc. As if not telling stories about queer people, trans people, etc. isn't itself deeply political, a way of asserting that our humanity is lesser, that our lives are less meaningful, less relatable, less worthy of attention, exploration, yes, empathy. In fact, of course, many on the right who react so vehemently, always got to be the right, hasn't it? So vehemently to stories that centre queer people and trans people do so because they know that the stories we tell matter, that they do have political and cultural power. Right, let's just break this down. You are in the minority no matter what you think of yourself. So your stories are less relatable. That's just a harsh fact of reality because you are in a minority. Now, the core sort of caring and emotional aspect of stories centered around these things, no, definitely they are relatable no matter what. But make no mistake, you are in the minority. That's a fact. Okay? That is a fact. And I know it sounds like a harsh fact of life, but it is. So your stories, they are definitely worthy of attention and exploration and, yeah, empathy. Absolutely. Why do you think... I mean, the first game was so well loved and, you know, one of the main characters is lesbian. No one cares. But the idea, again, the in-universe, it just doesn't make any sense. Narratively speaking, it doesn't make sense. You're going to be presented with characters that you love, that you are then going to have to kill one of them, right? Okay, Joel and Ellie, you like these characters, that's why you like the game. You kill Joel, and then you're forced to play as the character that killed them. That's the main thing here. That's mainly what people are upset about. Again, is there a fringe section of the populace that are complaining, that dislike the fact that Abby is trans? Yes, absolutely. We have to acknowledge that. And are the kind of trans hatred comments and things like that justified? No, they're not. And it's not nice. We shouldn't do stuff like that. People exist. You can make a justifiable argument without that level of hatred, and it's important to do so because, well, people just won't take you seriously. So it is important to differentiate. But you then are forced to play as that character to then hunt down Ellie later in the game. Now, narratively speaking, it doesn't make any sense. So that's what people's main issue is. But you just focus on this tiny little thing. Again, you're focusing on the fringe part of the complaints here, not the narrative complaints, of course. And then we get same old nonsense. Cis. Again, how can you say this with any level of any level of seriousness is beyond me. Cis heteronormativity is a hell of a drug. Well, again, I apologise, but we are the majority. Okay? We are the majority. And I made a comment on the video which I did, which was, why can't we get women that look like women? And I had a lot of people saying, well, that's sexist. No, it's not. It is sexist to do the other thing. Funnily enough, females look feminine. They are the majority. Women are curvaceous. Women, I don't understand. It's almost as if women, again, the sort of feminist fringe, anyway, don't want women to look like women anymore. What's wrong with it? What is wrong with you that you hate men so much that you even, like, you want to remove feminine features from everything? It's so baffling. So baffling. Doesn't make any sense. And yes, in a post-apocalyptic world, would women be a bit bigger and things like that? Or, not bigger, but athletic? Yeah, of course they would. Of course they would. But Abby doesn't look athletic, does she? She looks like she lifts some serious weights down the gym. Okay? And a lot of people are sick to death of women not looking feminine in games. Not looking like the women that are actually around them. And that's one of the key things here, is these women are the majority. They exist. Women, funnily enough, I know, shock horror, look like women. I mean, that's just a fact. But apparently we can't get that anymore. Like, for some bizarre reason. And the main issue is, with this level of nonsense, is the fact that these people kick up such a fuss when a woman does look like a woman. But now you're surprised when people see a woman that doesn't look like a woman, or a trans character or whatever, and you're surprised that people have an issue with it. Well, maybe if you kept your mouth shut and let us just enjoy a woman looking like a woman, we wouldn't be up in arms every time something is changed to your benefit, hey? Maybe think about that next time. Maybe shut your fucking mouth when a woman looks like a woman. Like, there's rage on all of these things all the goddamn time. It's such trash. So anyway, you know, and this is the thing. They just keep just harping on about the trans element. That's not what people have issue with. People have issue with genuinely the story. And this is funny. Anita says, imagine if I had the power all these doofuses think I have. Well, unfortunately, Anita, your mate Neil Cuckman has been out there saying that you have influenced his decisions. It's well documented in interviews. So I don't really understand how you're now deflecting away and saying, no, we don't have that. No. But you do have that power. It's well documented that you are in there as a consultant. So, yes, you are to blame for this stupid narrative decision. What if it was a woman? Shock horror, Anita. What if you're a man? Mind blown. Mind blown. What if you were a man? What would happen then? Well, maybe you wouldn't be so man-hating, you misandrist. And again, this is the thing. She says here, which is laughable. Like, I'm just here wondering, do all these super duper hardcore my favourite game ever is Last of Us not remember that there are queer characters in it? Yeah, no, they do remember. That's not most people. I mean, that's not what the arguments are. Like, the main arguments. Thanks for ruining The Last of Us. Good job, you clown. Like, the main argument is quite simply narrative speaking. And yes, we acknowledge there's people on the fringe. But I thought this would be a funny video. Yeah. Really funny. Again, the deflection is monumental. The deflection. So good. Sweet deflection. Love to hear your thoughts. Let me know down below. Like I say, don't go reaching out to these people. All the people that are doing the sort of trans hatred and stuff like that. Just check yourself. Seriously, check yourself, because there's no fundamental issue with that. And you can get your point across in a much better way without that level of hatred. You know, little comments here and there for comedic intent with respect to, well, my comment where I said, well, you know, I've seen bodybuilders with bigger tits. I mean, it's just comedic elements. But actual trans hatred and stuff like that, probably not worth it. You probably get your point across a little bit quicker. Well, probably not, to be fair, with these idiots, because they do any mental gymnastics to justify it. But whatever, I thought you'd find this video. Let me know down below in the comments. I'm going to go get another coffee. In 2 days' time, I am doing my birthday live stream. I hope you tune into that. You may enjoy it. I'm just going to hang out. Might have a few drinks. Haven't decided yet. But stay tuned for that. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm Mr. H. Take care.